I'm Holly and welcome to my booktube channel. This is actually the first video I've ever done on this genre or this, corner of YouTube, and I'm kind of excited. Recently, my husband kind of gave me the shove to start a booktube channel. He just noticed that I ramble on and on about all the books I'm reading, and he thought that there might be people out there that want to hear that sort of thing. I think he's probably just getting tired of listening to me, so he's trying to give me an outlet where I can talk about books and the love of reading. And yesterday was actually Christmas, so I got a stack of books as presents, and I thought, well, what better time to start than kind of in the new year almost, and right after I have a whole stack of books to talk about and show. So with that, I guess I should say, one thing you're probably going to find about my booktube channel is that will be a regular occurrence. I have two dogs currently shaking the camera, one of them. That was Judge that you just saw. Chief is over there on the couch. We'll see if he stays there. I'm hoping they take a nap, but they might pick up a squeak toy at some point. So, I'm just gonna do our best. I know my first video, and probably first videos, plural, are not gonna be perfect, but we're gonna go with it. And another thing to know about me is I'm an avid coffee drinker. Currently, I'm drinking the H-E-B brand Hub City Blend. I live in Texas, and H-E-B is like the main grocery store here, and they have their own line of coffee. And the Hub City Blend is an ode to Lubbock, Texas, where I have lived. I do not currently live there, but I have lived there. I don't know what y'all are drinking, but if you don't have something already, go grab a cup, and let's jump into the Christmas present book haul. So to start off, I have a couple of nonfiction books that I got for Christmas. The first one is called I'd Rather Be Reading by Bogel. The little blurb here says, "The delights and dilemmas of reading life." It's kind of a small, probably quick read, and it's hard to describe this book, so I'm just going to read you the short paragraph on the back. It says, "Reading isn't just a way to pass the time. It's a lifestyle. Books shape, define, and enchant us. They are part of who we are, and we can't imagine life without them." In this collection of charming and relatable reflections, beloved blogger and author Anne Bogel leads you to remember the book that first hooked you, the place where you first fell in love with reading, and all the books and moments afterward that helped make you the reader you are today. So it's sort of just a nonfiction ode to readers and books, and that'll be a fun one to kind of breeze through and start the new year off with. The next nonfiction I got for Christmas is actually Christian nonfiction. It's called The Resolution for Women by Priscilla Shirer. I sincerely hope I'm not butchering her name, but that is as close as I can get. It's Shirer. Some of you may have heard of her. She's kind of a world-renowned Christian leader, pastor, author. I've read several of her other books and always enjoyed them. This one looked particularly good. It's obviously focused towards women, and I've always loved Priscilla Shirer's approach to women. She's never been the type to, promote that you have to be meek and mild. She's all about strong, powerful, purposeful Christian women, and I am all about that. So I'm anxious to see what I think of her book, and I'm sure I'll love it if it's anything like the others I've read. So for the next two books, they are actually in the same genre. It's actually a genre that is fairly new to me, but not necessarily new to the Bookstagram booktube world. It's actually been trending quite a bit lately from what I can tell, and that is cozy mysteries. At first, I was pretty against reading cozy mysteries. I thought that just sounds cheesy and not up my alley. I like, more action-packed thriller kind of things, but I actually got my first taste of a cozy mystery recently. I read The Christmas Thief by Mary... I told y'all this was going to be a regular occurrence. Now we got the other one involved. It's a whole mess. I think what happened here is they knocked down this sign, and it's a big deal. They have to fully inspect it. We'll just let them figure. This is Chief, by the way. I don't think he's made an appearance yet. And Judge. Again. What can you do? Anyway, let me try to regain composure here. Back in business. Anyway, like I was saying, cozy mysteries. They are a genre, obviously, in the mystery category, but they're definitely more on the lighthearted side. There's usually some sort of cute theme surrounding it, and they're very lighthearted, whodunit type of mysteries. And the first one I got for Christmas is called Overboard at Christmas by Wendy Neugent. It says it's an Olivia Morgan cruise ship mystery, and judging from the spine, it has a little 3 on it. It is number 3 in a series based around the main character, Olivia Morgan, and her parrot here named Chico. You could see how this gets cutesy real quick. But from what I've heard about cozy mysteries, you can start anywhere in a series and still pick up what's going on. It's really easy because a lot of the series have 20, 30, 50 plus books sometimes. So trying to start at the beginning and get all the way to the end can be pretty daunting. So you might as well just pick up whichever one sounds interesting to you. This one apparently is about Olivia, and instead of getting to celebrate Christmas with her family, she has to spend it working, and she works on a cruise ship, her and her parrot. From what I gather, she's some type of performer, and I have a feeling Chico plays a part in that performance. I guess we'll find out, but apparently what happens is that a thief ends up on the ship, and she and her parrot are tasked with solving the mystery of who the thief is. And I guess that is all I need to say about that. Sounds kind of like a cute little breezy read. It's pretty short. Should be fun to read and get through. So, Overboard at Christmas by Wendy Neugent. The second cozy mystery that I got is called Christmas Criminals and Campers by Tonya Kappes. I just freaking love that cover art. I mean, how cute. Apparently Tonya Kappes, her whole cozy mystery series is kind of centered around campers, because from what I've read, I believe the main character initially started out married to a man who ended up being some sort of thief or con artist. So she ends up divorced, broke, and pretty much lost. But she learns that the one thing she did get in the divorce was like an RV park. So she ends up going to this, I want to say it's in Kansas, some sort of rural town. And she ends up going there and taking over this RV park and meeting a ton of characters, and I guess crazy things happen at this RV park because there are like 20 or 30 books of mysteries and things that happen. And this, I believe, I don't think it says what number this book is in the series. No, it doesn't say on the spine, but I guess I'll read the blurb on the back to try to help describe it. It says, "Welcome to Normal, Kentucky." It's Kentucky, not Kansas, where nothing is normal. Librarian Abby Fawn is starstruck when her favorite romance author, Nadine White, has rented a cozy camper at the Happy Trails campground for the winter months. Abby is devastated to find out Nadine White is nothing like the person she portrays in interviews or on social media. In fact, Nadine White is not nice at all, and Abby lets her feelings known that she thinks Nadine is a fraud after she finds out Nadine has a ghostwriter. When Nadine White is found dead in the normal library, Abby Fawn is Detective Hank Sharp's #1 suspect. It's time for Mae West to put up her camping gear for the winter months and put on her sleuthing gear to figure out who is framing Abby Fawn before Abby is the ending in Nadine White's final chapter. So Mae West is that main character I was just talking about, the one that ends up running this campground after her divorce. And I guess Abby Fawn is probably another character that was introduced to us in a previous book, but I wouldn't know. But I guess I'm gonna find out. So it's like a whodunit murder mystery with, I'm assuming, a Christmas theme. So I'm sure I'll enjoy that one. That is Christmas Criminals and Campers by Tonya Kappes. Next up is in the fiction category. It's actually a romance or contemporary romance, which is typically not my cup of tea. I'm very apprehensive about any sort of like cheesy story, which you wouldn't guess that after the two books we just talked about with cozy mysteries. But like I said, this is a totally new genre for me. I may love it, I may hate it. I don't know. We're gonna find out. So the fact that I'm picking up another contemporary romance is a little unusual for me, but it's one I got for Christmas, and it is called the Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. This, if you're familiar with the Bookstagram, YouTube, BookTube world, it has been everywhere, probably in large part to this fantastic cover art. I mean, come on. It is a bookshop decorated for Christmas. I mean, just, it's all the Shop Around the Corner vibes. If you haven't seen that movie, Shop Around the Corner, it's with Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. What are you doing? Shut this off, go watch it, come back. You will love it. So I don't know a whole lot about this going in. Just skimming the back here, from what I can tell, our main character is Carmen, and she gets laid off from her job at a department store and has to move in with her sister, Sophie, I think her name is, and they don't get along very well. You know how sisters are, bickering, not really wanting to be in the same house, and Carmen takes a job at this old bookstore where odd things start happening, and she's trying to sort of revive the place because it's old and dusty and not very inviting. And I believe the romance part kicks in when some sort of author steps in and finds the bookshop and Carmen, and I would imagine some sort of romance is struck at some point. And that's all I really know about this one. It looks pretty good. I'm not the biggest romance reader, but I am willing to give it a shot. This next book, I am way late to the game on. This, I believe, took the world by storm in 2018. I believe this was published in 2018. And since then, it has just exploded. And that is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This, like I said, was published in 2018 and became a movie this year, actually, in July, just in July. I have not seen the movie. I wanted to read the book first. I am that person. Book first, movie second. Hopefully. Sometimes that doesn't always work out, but that's how I like to roll anyway. This is probably not new to most of y'all. I don't know a whole lot about it, I'll be honest. I've purposely stayed sort of out of the loop. I don't want to be too heavily influenced by anyone else's opinion of it. I kind of want to go in blind and see what I think and see if it lives up to the hype. Essentially, this one is a mystery or literary fiction, I believe. It might even have some thriller aspects to it, but I'm not entirely sure. It seems to take place in 1969 in North Carolina. Apparently, some man is found dead, and an immediate suspect is Kaya Clark. She's called the Marsh Girl. I'm not sure why. She's apparently survived alone in a marsh for years. I guess that's where the Marsh Girl nickname comes from. And for some reason, she is a suspect in this murder. And that's really all I know about it. The only other thing that I've heard is that there, being in 1969, there are some segregation and probably race themes in it, just based on the time period. So I'm interested to see how that plays into all of this. And I kind of want to read this pretty quick so I can watch the movie as well and see what I think about that. And my mom actually gave me this book for Christmas, and she told me to hurry up and read it because she wants to read it. So I probably need to get to that one pretty soon. That's Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Next up, I actually have a biography. This one is called Gold Dust Woman. It is a biography about Stevie Nicks, actually written by Stephen Davis. It says he's author of Hammer of the Gods, which I've never read that. I don't think I've read anything by him, but one thing you'll learn about me is I am a huge Stevie Nicks fan. I'm a huge classic rock fan in general, and I think this is going to be great. It's all about Stevie Nicks and her life, and I'm sure Fleetwood Mac comes into play. It would have to. That's actually another Christmas present I got. My mom passed down to me her vinyl album of Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. So that was so cool. And she gave me this as well. So I'm anxious to see more about Stevie's life. I just think she's an incredible musician and really interesting human. If you don't follow her on Instagram and you're a classic rock fan, go do that. She's pretty active on there. And yeah, I guess that's really all there is to say about that. It's a biography of Stevie Nicks called Gold Dust Woman by Stephen Davis. This next book is one I have wanted to get my hands on for a long time, and it was gifted to me this year by my father-in-law, and that is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I am nervous to read this because there are so many people that can't stand this book. And I don't know why, because I have read, I think, almost all of Riley Sager's books, and I have loved every one of them, even the ones that people didn't like. So maybe I will like it, even if not a lot of people do, which I'm nervous because some of my favorite booktubers that I trust with reading recommendations said that this book did not work for them and they did not like it. One of my favorite booktubers, Zach with Zach's Books, he and his wife Danielle both have booktube channels. If you haven't seen their channels, you will love them. They are the most down-to-earth, awesome booktubers. And Zach read this, and normally his and my book tastes are spot on the same, and I think he DNF'd to this one. So I'm thinking, oh gosh, what am I gonna think? But it's Riley Sager. And since I'm such a big Riley Sager fan, I have to read it. I have to give it a shot. The others I've read by Riley Sager were Lock Every Door. What is it? Is it Final Girls? I get his and Grady Hendrix' Final Girls support group mixed up. But I think Riley Sager's is just called Final Girls. I've read that one, and I've read, what's the one with the house? Home Before Dark. Got it. Knew it would hit me. Those are the three I've read. I have not read The Last Time I Lied. I want to read all of Riley Sager's book, but I've heard some odd things about his book, The Last Time I Lied. I've heard there's some weird themes centered around a 13-year-old girl and a 19-year-old man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. So, but that's off topic. This House Across the Lake, I've heard mixed reviews. Like I said, some of my favorite booktubers didn't like it or even DNF'd it. So I'm a little nervous, but I still really want to read it. The blurb, just from kind of skimming through it, apparently there's the main character, Casey Fletcher. She is recently widowed and an actress, and she's escaping to her family's lake house in Vermont. And apparently she's kind of an alcoholic or recovering alcoholic. Well, maybe not recovering, because it says that she is armed with binoculars and several bottles of bourbon. So she is liquored up and spying on the neighbors across the lake. Her neighbors are some sort of glamorous, maybe famous couple, I guess. And one day she saves the wife from drowning, and they strike up a friendship and they get to know each other. But then I guess some weird things start happening because Casey starts noticing that her neighbor's marriage is far from perfect, and there is just some weird things that going on. And that's really all I know. I'm going in kind of blind. I've tried to stay away from spoiler reviews. I feel like sometimes when you get too inundated with other people's opinions, it affects your own reading experience, and I'd like to form my own opinions. So that is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. And last but certainly not least, I have Fairytale by Stephen King. I have been so excited to get this book. I believe it came out just this year, and I don't know a ton about it, but Stephen King is one of my favorite authors. I have read several of his books. I'm still working my way through the Stephen King empire, but I've heard good things about this. Like I said, I'll mention him again, Zach with Zach's Books. He read it and really loved it, so I'm hoping I do too. It's a chunk of a book. It's pretty thick, which that's Stephen King for you. He usually writes fairly large books. Apparently this one is kind of thriller, fantasy, dark fantasy, maybe some paranormal elements in there. Typically Stephen King is more horror. I don't know if there will be some heavy horror themes in this or not, but I've heard it's more fantasy, dark fantasy. Apparently it is centered around a teenager named Charlie Reed. He's kind of a high school student that plays baseball, football, good student. However, he kind of has a rough home life. His mom was killed in a hit and run accident, and his dad, I guess, following that, became an alcoholic. And so Charlie's dealing with that, and he meets a dog named Radar, which I guess is right there, who apparently is one of the main characters in the book. I'm interested to see how a dog can be a main character. Not that that's too hard to conceptualize, but since dogs can't talk, I wonder how the character development is going to work there. But if anyone can do it, it'd be Stephen King. And I really don't know a whole lot else about this book. If you've read it and you liked it, let me know what you thought of it, without spoilers, obviously. But yeah, that is Fairytale by Stephen King. And I mean, that cover art is just so cool. That alone is enough to make you pick it up. So yeah, that is Fairytale by Stephen King. Well, that wraps up all the books I got for Christmas and my first booktube video. I guess we'll see if it's well received. Regardless, I had fun doing it. I got to geek out about books for a little while, and that's always a good thing. So let me know what you guys got for Christmas, if you got any books, or if you celebrate Hanukkah, what you got for Hanukkah, out of whatever holiday you've recently celebrated. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye, y'all.